6:51 p.m. It's Monday, July 29, 2024. And this is for purposes of capturing the phenomenon where I'm documenting federal group stalking and monitoring amongst the people of the state, which is the state of California that is group stalking through the population, that is currently on the record engaging in criminal surveillance with the government at third-party facilitating venue TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott. And they are centering presence inside of the rooms all around mine in room 517. This is a demon-possessed, that's legally relevant, group stalker that is engaging in criminal surveillance with the state of California inside of room 517 directly above. Also in room 317 directly below, engaging in what is criminal surveillance in concert and on behalf of the state of California. Group stalking by relevant positioning being both above and beneath my room on the 4th floor. You have group stalking by maintaining close relevant positioning and stalking with audible activity creation in sync with the demons who are maintaining criminal presence at the intersection, for example, of Myrtle and Huntington. But again, criminal surveillance is all around this venue. The demons live on the opposite side of this property, many of whose license plate I documented. That's just a sample. The people of the state will be prosecuted and no one's going to be missed. But they live in relevant position. They work in relevant position. They're maintaining presence in relevant position, doing any and everything, which is criminal presence under all circumstances. And doing so at the hotel where the fake sun is remaining over this hotel building. And as I documented today, which again, the date is July 29, 2024. I'm showing you the light source at the intersection of Myrtle and Huntington this morning at 9:53 a.m., which you witness as you're looking at the black SUV at the intersection, a traffic light, which is the ability to witness America's version of terrorism, where a stalker is able to conveniently engage in the state's pattern of conduct where a population maintains relevant positioning, a population that is group stalking. And that phenomenon is recognized through what is an entirely scientific impossibility, and doing so where also the state itself is directly engaging in that demonic behavioral pattern and exhibiting the same exact condition, which is demon possession. So this is speaking to what the venue, and notably indeed inside of, like I stated, let me be clear, as I documented inside of the rooms who are on the record concentrating relevant positioning, rooms 517 directly above, 317 directly below, room 418 and 415, both to my left and my right, and 419. 418 is directly in front of my room, and 415 and 419 are on both sides of me. These are the means where the demon possessed physically surround, and it's not just the presence of in the room. The demon possessed are literally group stalking as I go from room to room in the hotel, which is the obsessive group stalking of demons. They just don't want you to know that they are so obsessively stalking you, and they do so by maintaining presence in your path. Demon possessed group stalkers who are very highly psychotic and very sexually perverted stalkers. They are doing so in private spaces where you're inside of your home, and they are able knowledge of where you're at, which again you're witnessing and you're aware of because of the specific environment, the fake sun, the engineered light, the amplified audible activity. These are speaking to exactly what it is that I'm documenting, and you've also witnessed the body of evidence where I've shown through my documentation, just capturing it, and you're witnessing the patterns within the pattern, okay? The entity that is stalking as I documented, that's speaking to an entity that's aware of what's being documented about it because of the absence of the ability to have an ongoing coincidence, on and on and on. And then with regard to the phenomenon that accent this pattern of conduct, there are no coincidences, which is what you realize. And this is revealing what is indeed a very heavily monitored I am heavily monitored by a demon-possessed and psychotic entity. That's a threat. That's an ongoing conspiracy to murder and to permanently kidnap one who is being stalked in ways in which the demon-possessed don't want it to be known. They also seek to hide the fact that they are a mentally ill population who present a public safety concern, not just to me while they're stalking me. They're a public safety concern to each other, to minor children, to the public itself. And that includes those that are in the position of government. They are of the same condition. The same criminal system is not ignorantly underway as I go from place to place to place and show a seamless ability to capture the pattern of conduct. This is not ignorantly underway and facilitated by the government. Those that are in these positions of leadership And you have this massive pattern of conduct in the state amongst leaders such as chiefs of police, such as mayors, all right, such as sheriff's departments, and such as these local and county agencies, and the population. You're talking about apartment complexes. You're talking about shopping malls. You're talking about airports. You're talking about the unnatural environment. No, the entity is not ignorant, and no government actor is genuinely ignorant. And that is what I'm revealing through the pattern of conduct. And then you are looking at it and assessing it yourself. And it is entirely unreasonable to suggest that the government that's engaging in the pattern of conduct is ignorant about what it is engaging in. And that's just common sense. The state's not ignorant. The chief of police is not ignorant about what the police department is doing with helicopters all day long. You're not ignorant about the amount of expenditures with regard to keeping helicopters gassed up, with where those helicopters are going, where they're concentrating presence, the ability to even track that and be aware of that. They're not ignorant of that. These are things that you can, and you have leaders. You're talking about the mayor, the sheriff's department, the chief of police, these fire chiefs, and then you're getting all the way up to like a governor. These are government actors, and it is not reasonable to contend that the government is indeed ignorant about a pattern of conduct that the state is practicing. It took one person, apparently, to present it to the degree that it cannot be disregarded and you cannot defame that person. That's what the entity has engaged in, kidnapping, if not literally removing from existence anyone that would contend about what I'm showing you, which is the pattern of conduct. I want to get back to the evidence. The entity is engaging in terrorism. As I walk to the kitchen, as I walk to the bathroom, the demon in room 517 is creating what is sensational activity, which is impossible occurrence. The hotel, TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott, and any hotel that likes to especially charge you a lot of money, they're not building these like Section 8 project homes in downtown Los Angeles. That's not how these are structured. It's the same analysis and common sense observation. When you're driving down the street, it's going to cause the air conditioner to vibrate in my hotel room. That's the demon possessed who are engaging in not traffic. You're able to recognize pacing. And you're aware of all of this sensational and audible activity, which is amplified in volume, in an environment where you've seen spectacular light shows in hallways and staircases. And while you're supposed to then separate that and just look at the ordinary, mundane traffic. Okay, that does not follow. And I want to let you know that this is the unintelligent pattern of conduct that the demon possessed tell about what they are indeed engaging in. If I were to give you tales and fables about demons that are engaging in unspeakable crimes, and the people of the state were actually persuasive in maintaining an outward demeanor of normalcy, where there is no light source that appears as the sun for 12 plus hours in the day, and there is no light source, with engineered light that's not even logical to be the explanation for that light above my head and flashing light as though I'm in a photo shoot, but I'm not. These are the things that would help the people of the state, but this is not what they do, and this is not the environment that they're present in. This is also not the environment where the entity has engaged in a pattern of conduct of targeting, harassment, defamation, and literally acting in sync with the government itself to engage in just senseless acts of violence. This is the entity that's group stalking. This entity is a sex offender, and I want to show you, not only is this the venue, this is where the entity, and this is also going to be, I want to be clear as I'm pointing out the rooms, remember this is just centered around my being, my physical placement inside of the hotel. The demon possessed are obsessed. And in which regard, what you need to know, Satan is an obsessed entity. Satan is very mentally disturbed. I cannot stress that enough. I can't stress it enough. And it is made manifest as I'm letting you know about the secret behavioral patterns, about the secret activity of those who are demon possessed in that very condition they do not want you to know about. But they can't deny it. And nor can you reasonably just ignore the environment that I've also shown you where they're present. And I've also shown you all their patterns of conduct, which is a direct threat to my life. So I want to preface this. It's not just, these rooms are just centered around where I'm at, which the demon possessed are obsessively maintaining presence. I need you to close your eyes and picture in your mind group stalking as I've shown you what it is. It's called maintenance of presence in the path. This is in the sky space, and it's also all around on the ground, on the grounds around me, because I don't fly or hover or levitate. I walk on the ground like everybody else with my 2 feet. So the entity, unless you're physically handicapped, but nonetheless, we're all on the ground. That's what I mean. So the entity is maintaining very obsessive presence, and it includes relevant positioning at places and relevant position, including across the street. all right, including at Avalon Bay, the apartment complex, including at Citizens Bank, the entity which you are not aware of, which you can't see through the brick walls of Citizen Bank. But this is the reality of what the demon possessed are doing, aware of my physical presence. And the demon possessed are obsessed with maintaining alignment with my person while they're pacing all around. This is what traffic is serving on an ongoing basis, maintaining, just driving all around the building all day long, all around the building, all around the parking lot. That's what the demons are doing. While inside of my hotel room, this is what was going on inside of Alvarado Gardens as well. The demons would walk around the apartment complex wanting to look like they're getting their physical exercise. Yeah, they're doing that in an apartment complex where the fake sun was rising and setting at that apartment complex. That was demonic pacing. That's what Myrtle and Huntington traffic is. That's what you're looking at. I need you to train your eye and recognize what the demons are doing. It's pacing. Don't marry yourself to a particular image. You're looking at the same behavior and the ways in which the demons are engaging in it. So you're understanding the objective is always to maintain pacing. The demons are always pacing, 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 pacing. And with regard to monitoring with regard to my physical movement, if I engage in any new movement, and what the demons don't want you to know and see is what they're doing inside while they're physically separated away from me. And I don't see them stalking me as I go from room to room in my hotel. And so the demons are stalking, for example, the demon in 517, who's engaging in what is harassment on behalf of a whole entity. And it is not different while the demons are stalking at Myrtle and Huntington, and the whole population, the whole state's going to be prosecuted for what is harassment as the government. The government is harassing while a population is stalking you. And you know that because the fake sun remains over the hotel while demons are pacing under it all day long. This is how you have what is recognized as a demon driving a state vehicle, which is an ambulance under facts of federal group stalking and monitoring, and that which is a phenomenon, fake sunlight, engineered light, directed light, is dragging behind that ambulance, which I documented on video yesterday. That's a state actor, Falk Ambulances, and they're going to be prosecuted for state terrorism. By the way, the likes of those are the ones that are sounding sirens while they know exactly what I'm stating as I'm stating it inside of the private space, where the likes of demons, such as the one that is documented engaging in criminal surveillance with the state of California, checking in, providing me their personal information, which will be the prosecution of the state of California and every other demon who I already told is going to federal prison, that's engaging in the same exact P.O.C. A sex offense by the government, an exceedingly violent sex offense going on the criminal record. If they're not a natural born citizen, they're going to be deported. They're engaging in criminal conduct with the likes of demons such as Dominic Choi and the demons of the LAPD. This is the same entity now that I'm in Monrovia, and Alan San Victorous is the domestic enemy that is over a corrupt agency that is the Monrovia Police Department, and many of these other departments that are engaging in the same pattern of conduct. Remember, there's no respect of persons. All I'm doing is showing you what the government is doing amongst each and every department. I'll name them, but that just represents the state generally speaking. The state is practicing a pattern of conduct. So as opposed to the stalker being one person, the stalker is the government. And the stalker, just like demon possession, with regard to the demonic spirit going from body to body to body, or maintaining presence in all those bodies at the same time all around you, and the ability to maintain such possession of everyone around you, no matter where you're going. This is the same conduct with regard to movement all around the state. It is revealing the condition, and this is unfortunate with regard to the times that we're in. Many are lost, and they're engaging in what is actually going to be prosecuted as criminal conduct. The government isn't free to just practice willy-nilly demonic activity and witchcraft, while they also conspire to murder you, because there is no legitimate reason for the government to be stalking. And you're stalking where the specific environment, which is a phenomenon, which is happening for a deliberate purpose, and it is not the imagination of the targeted individual. All right, you're stalking in that environment, and you are demon possessed while you're stalking in that environment. And the entity sought to do so with the malicious purpose to falsely depict a targeted individual that does not have the wherewithal, the ability. Not that they're lacking, not that they're unintelligent, but they may not have the skill set. They may not have the creativity. They may not have the wherewithal to articulate the sickness that is federal group stalking and monitoring. And that's perfectly reasonable. I understand that. The more that I witnessed, the more that I studied what Satan is doing, the more nauseating it became, and also the more passionate I became in order to make sure I not only prosecute, but I'm going to expose every aspect of it. So you are never confused about what Satan is doing in the state of California and in this nation. All right, so this is just speaking to what the entity is doing, following me from room to room. A demon in room 517, which is what they're all doing, as I go from the kitchen to the bathroom to the bed. The demons are actually in whatever location. Say you're in an apartment complex. Say you're in a neighborhood, and it doesn't have to be a cul-de-sac, but say you live on a house or in a mansion, in a cul-de-sac. It doesn't matter. The demon possessed. This is what they're doing. as opposed to normal life. No, it's not. You could see the fake sun that remains over your street, over your house all day, 12 plus hours. Yeah, you're being monitored. Okay. And the entity is doing that while the entity is maintaining presence on behalf of the government. So let me be clear. The government does not have any warrant or probable cause. There is no existing constitutional basis to engage in criminal surveillance through any inept demon that is group stalking by virtue of surveillance and checking into a hotel room and engaging in harassment and terrorism on behalf of that government. The government doesn't have any warrant or probable cause to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. And that's what the demon in 517 stalking as I go from room to room is engaging in. All right. And the fact that you can hear it is relevant for what is harassment by the demon possessor or group stalking. And now what you're mindful of is what the entity is doing in that specific environment. And this is Engineer Light, and this is at 7:07 p.m. And as I've already showed you, the entity is maintaining a specific environment where the fake sun remains, as you can see outside home. Let me put this up so you can see. This is the same hotel room where I showed you at this intersection in the morning. Let me go to the other side rather than, I'm not going to open up. It's too much of a task. I'm just going to document this video. This is going onto the record. I just want to document because I'm being thorough, because there's a purpose here. The entity is The entity is maintaining the light source as you saw it through the windshield of a vehicle, the black SUV this morning. I'll remind you about that picture. This is the same intersection. This is the same window. Okay, so out the same window. This is non-movement. Remember, this is not even. This is the block, and this is my window on the 4th floor room. Well, I'm not going to include the room right now, but this is the same window where on the 4th floor facing the same intersection. This is non-movement, and so is this light source that you see outside of the same window, which you saw while it was hovering. Pay attention to everything. That's a demon pacing in the parking lot. They're stalking. These are psychopaths. That's what they're doing in the hotel room while I'm going from room to room. All these demons they're fleeing. They're going behind the parking lots, driving on the side of the building. This is pacing, and you know that, and you know that they're mentally ill because a fake sun is over all of them. Over every single last one of them. All right, and so the entity is maintaining an environment that is conducive to federal group stalking and monitoring. And the entity is doing so on a ceaseless basis while Engineer Light drags across the sidewalks and the curbs, just like you saw Falk, the ambulance. That was a demon driving an ambulance. These are all demons driving their own vehicles, or whoever vehicle it is. It's criminal presence, and it's on behalf of the government. Give me 1 second. Let me put this down before I break it. Okay, so this is the same intersection where you saw the light source. So let me just go ahead and prepare this so that you can look at it together. And for the entity to be able to see, in other words, for you to be able to see through a vehicle that is on the ground, that which is supposedly the sun, and you're seeing it at such a low position that you could see it over the vehicle through the windshield, all right? Don't forget about that. And not only the fact that it's impossible because the entity is maintaining that which the entity would like to contend is the sun, because everybody at Alvarado Gardens, the speaker companies would like to contend. I don't know what the target individual is talking about. That's the sun that's over me in Palo Alto. That's the sun that's over me at Alvarado Gardens. I know nothing what you're speaking of with regard to this so-called group stalking. That's what the demons are going to contend. And this is the entity that is engaging in the state's pattern of conduct, and their condition and their criminal engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring is shown at the first level with regard to the specific environment. So I want to get to that. Give me 1 second so I can see. These are all of the screenshots. That's called amplified audible activity, and it is as impossible as flashing directed light, and it is as impossible as this engineer that light that's on this hotel wall on the inside of the hotel. After 9:53 a.m., it's currently 7:10 p.m., so let's count the hours together. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 9 hours ago, and you're hearing audible activity of a demon that's stalking, and the entity is engaging in that on a ceaseless basis. And TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott is just one actor within the entity that are the people of the state. This is actually the government as opposed to any constitutional operation of a business exercising privacy rights. This is group stalking. So the entity is engaging in this conduct, and I want you to see the pattern of conduct as you see this fake sun here. You're remembering what you saw this morning at the intersection of Myrtle and Huntington, where this is the same intersection that I just showed you. And this is, again, let's look at the time at 9:53. That was 9 hours ago. I'm looking outside of the same window, and you're looking at third parties such as Foothill Transit, documented terrorists, the same Engineer Light. They're dragging Engineer Light just like Falk Ambulance at 6 o'clock in the evening. Metro but Foothill Transit, those are demons group stalking at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning in Pomona, California under a fake sun, okay? Foothill Transit is a well-documented terrorist. That's another company that is relevant for RICO charges, okay? Group stalking with corrupt law enforcement agencies. They're monitoring while the ongoing maintenance of a specific environment. That's the significance of having a fake sun. That's the significance of having engineered light. They are monitoring, okay? And so while the entity is engaging in this, the amplified audible activity helps demons such as the one in 517 that likes to follow me around from room to room, which is to their own demise. Everybody that works at the hotel, for example, is going to federal prison, including Evan, the one that you hear on the podcast, he's going to federal prison. While the entity provides evidence against him and itself, there are many who are going to federal prison because this is the exact same ceaseless system that they're engaging in. It reveals their condition. These are indeed demons. This duration of time, the fact that this light source is supposedly in a position over the same intersection at 9:53 in the morning, and that's how you're able to catch it over this vehicle at this intersection, which requires for it to be very low, by the way, for it to be so low that it's seen through the windshield. But nonetheless, this is non-movement. And it's also something that is not over anywhere near Alvarado Gardens through a bedroom window. It never rose to the living room side of the window over the hillside. And it was never over the Ovid Family Community Library. It was never visible directly over the door of room 277 at Economy Inn in Ontario, California, which is where the entity kept a fake sun all day long and then set it over that hotel on Euclid Avenue in Ontario, where the demon-possessed were stalking in planes and helicopters over my room, amplifying it, and group stalking with the people of the state who were driving on a 60 freeway at a distance from that hotel room and amplifying it just like the demons are here, which I'm showing you again is demonic pacing and a population that are violent sex offenders, sexually violating you while they are jointly aware of the fact that you're nude, aware that your genitalia is exposed, and the impossible audible activity is the way that they satiate their sexually perverted methods of targeting someone for no legitimate purpose. It is engagement in the state's pattern of conduct for the conspiracy to criminally target and sexually violate and offend in a perpetual manner. Not only because the fake sun and the engineer light is maintained on a ceaseless basis, the demons are ceaselessly stalking. No matter how long they're going to federal prison, they continue to engage in it, and that's going to be satisfied by a federal judge. They care not how many years ago to federal prison. It's not going to be forgotten in federal court. And the entity is convinced that because you've got millions of vehicles that cross paths, that no one's going to answer for that quantity, for that size of a violation, for that measure of impunity. Remember, this is the state's conduct. This is not private action at all. This is where the government is group stalking by the state. The state does it through the population. They maintain criminal presence on behalf of a government that has no warrant or probable cause. And there is no warrant or probable cause where the government wants to practice demonic methods of targeting you for purposes of conspiring to murder and or permanently kidnap you in a facility because they're trying to sacrifice you. This is the light source that's over the same intersection at 9:53 a.m. These are the circumstances where demons that are physically surrounding, such as the demons inside of rooms 517, right above me, stalking as I go from room to room, which is documented harassment as an entity, acting in sync with the demons who are pacing under a fake sun 9 hours after I captured it, as you see it through a windshield at the same intersection, which is speaking to the presence of that light source. This is where the demons are engaging in criminal summoning, group stalking on a ceaseless basis, using emergency vehicles for purposes of maintaining the elements of monitoring while they're practicing demonic activity with the people of the state. That's yesterday. Let me get today. With the people of the state who are engaging in that same exact pattern of conduct on a ceaseless basis. And so the entity is engaging in this is actually 114. Yeah, that's the correct time. The entity is engaging in criminal summoning to criminally facilitate. That is the entity, as opposed to the demon in 517 creating amplified audible activity. The demons amplifying traffic inside of my hotel room. The demons will sound sirens. All it is an ongoing alternative method of maintenance of methods of audible activity, while demons are stalking together as a population. And there are people that are readily identifiable who are indeed going to federal prison. This is a fake sun. This is a light source that's referred to. It's 7:15. This is the scientific phenomenon that the sun would be at the same position, because that's what this is, while it's just on this side of the building, and I'm capturing it at this side of the building while I'm at the back of the hotel at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the fake sun is right over my head. And as I'm at the parking lot, I'm standing next to the street in the parking lot at the same hotel. That's the same location. The reason why you see it at this side is because the entity is stalking with the fake sun. So as I go to whatever side of the building, so does the fake sun. As I go anywhere, so do the demons. Okay, they're sex offenders that know when my genitalia is exposed. They engage in demonic pacing. They engage in engineered light while they know my genitalia is exposed to monitor. That's a sex offender. Because they do it in demonic methods does not mean that they'll be prosecuted any less severely than a sex offender that's raping people left and right everywhere that they're going and touching and molesting people. That's what the sex offenders do. No 86-year-old granny is going to avoid prosecution. No 17-year-old group stalker is going to avoid prosecution. And no one that's group stalking with the state directly or vicariously is going to avoid prosecution. All right. It is currently, again, 7:16 p.m. and this is P.O.C.